between when we first met and we first started working on Soda Gang and Love of Pharaoh, at least for me, um, it has to be like what, 10, 11 years
Yeah,
now?
we're hitting 10 years this spring since we first linked up.
So how, and you're talking about evolution, it's like perfect. Like, how have you evolved? How has your sound evolved?
Yeah, I think this is really the first year that I genuinely kind of took a look at like what has the past decade had in store for me. You know, I think if I'm putting life on like a grand scale of like I want to take over the whole world, right? It's easy to say, all right, well, in 10 years did I accomplish that? No. But that doesn't make the life that I live void of any level of greatness. I think that going from a kid who like, you know, when I was in 6th grade, I remember inviting the entire grade to an end of the year school party and not a single person showed up, which is a bummer for me. Going from that to being able to learn how to bring people together in events and creating environments that people want to be in, to then graduating from that and taking it to completely new cities. You know, when we talk about evolution, we talk about a kid who maybe 10 years ago didn't understand the ideas, why, you know, connections, relationships were valuable. I don't think I fully understood that. I don't think I fully understood the patience that was required. And these were all things I had to learn through the inner battles, or the failures that we would then proceed to go through. I'm no stranger to failure, but I think I was a stranger to a lot of real world situations I had never been through. And now I've come out on the other side. You know, I'm not out here trying to throw parties every day. I think that maybe that side did stem a little bit from the fact that like nobody ever wanted to be my friend when I was in school. I was never that kid, right? So there was a piece of me that was like really hell bent on like creating experiences for people, not out of spite, but just because, you know, it's like I wasn't able to beat that game as a kid, so how can, you know, can I do it as a grown up? We did that. We created unforgettable experiences, and then from there was something missing inside still deeply that I felt I had not accomplished in the mission, and I think that was leaving. So once I left, I think then the next part of the journey went into play.
You can start and segue into something. It'll be kind of cool. Like, I can walk and videotape you,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get to like sit down and talk a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So through this transition
Mm-hmm.
over the last decade,
Mm-hmm.
how has your music evolved?
I think that just progressively, you know, I'm such a big fan of like practice, like just doing something, getting your reps in. I think that's the most important. You know, for me, I guess I don't have an idea of the goal for skill when it comes to music or even the relationship, right? I follow it and, you know, keep that flame nurtured and alive, through finding inspiration. So I think it's just like new inspiration in general that really has been progress for me. I think I had a lot of spiritual experiences that definitely you can hear like a before and after. You know, I would say, you know, before shrooms and full on ego death from DMT and, you know, acid and all these things, like there is a sense of myself that is like the same, but at the same time I understand so much is bigger than me now. So with those experiences, it makes me want to like, I think, just be more honest. And if I'm going to try to, you know, influence the vibe of people, I want it to be of peace, of understanding. I don't think I fully understood the value of love and peace and spiritual freedom in the past, so I couldn't talk about it the same way I can now because I personally experienced a lot of it. You know, I think that recently I've been releasing a lot of singles, and the singles is not because any other reason than I don't want to stay in a genre right now. Like, it's easy for me to, you know, say, oh, I'm going to stop rapping because I want to focus more on indie, or I want to stop focusing on indie because I want to worry more about my rapping. But at the end of the day, like, I wake up every day and I want to do something different. Like, the way that we as humans feel different emotions, different days, we want to listen to different music, watch a different movie, wear a different outfit. I feel like sonically I'm the same way. You know, there's certain emotions that can only be conveyed through certain types of music and styles for me. Like, I might have an idea that just feels so energetic or feeling inside that it needs to be through rap because of the hype and aggression, or even just a more chillax beat. I have so much to say that I need to write it as a rap. Or I might be feeling so deeply in love or emotionally pulled by relationships and women that, you know, I need to write a song with more melody, and maybe it needs to be a darker sound because that's the way that my heart feels, or it needs to be happier because that's the way I feel that day. So, you know, at this point, you know, it's just a part of living and breathing. Like, you know, I've been doing it for so long. Like, just a part of the existence, you know. You're always going to find a new level to yourself that you didn't before, as long as you're working at it every day, you know. I would encourage anybody out there to understand things are not going to go exactly the way they want in life. The way that I thought my life as an artist would go when I was, you know, 14 or 19 years old is drastically different than how it ended up going in real life. But I can't say that I feel the least bit unhappy with it, you know. And I think so much of us as artists, right, we're presented with all of the glitz and the glamour of, like, seeing the, like, very small percentage of people that the machine behind it all chooses they want to back and they want to push that button for. So I know I personally can sometimes feel like I'm not enough or I'm not doing enough, but I am. It's just the way that society will try to make you feel for being in a field like this. If you ain't rich and famous and, you know, selling out tours, then it's easy to just feel like, man, am I wasting my time doing this? But at the end of the day, whether I have no money or I have all the money in the world, I'm gonna make songs. You know, if I was alone on a completely empty island, nobody knew where I was, I knew I was trapped there for life, I would just start banging coconuts together and making songs about being alone in this place. And if I have all the money in the world, I'm sure it's going to come with its own complications. I'd make music then. So just being at peace with it, being a part of who I am. Learning how to express myself as an artist better than I ever have, which is simply just being yourself. You know, it's not about looking at somebody else's success or looking at somebody else as an artist and trying to emulate what they're doing. In the beginning stages, I think that's super necessary. But the more you do what you do, you're just going to find yourself inside of it, you know. And you can't get that without the practice, without the years and years and years of doing it. To truly see who yourself is, what are these musical patterns you have and characteristics, you know, when reflecting. You know, when I first moved away from Minnesota, for me, it was like, I was almost like bitter about it. It was like everywhere I was, it was like, oh, you know, Minnesota was this like level that I felt like I was better than, but I feel like I was just ready to leave, you know what I'm saying? But coming back now, it's so beautiful. It's like the first time I ever seen it, you know? I don't feel bitter at all. This is beautiful. You know, I think we got to stop thinking about things just being better than other things. Like, it's okay for things to just be different, you know? Like, this isn't a beach in Hawaii, but this is a beach in Minneapolis. This is a place where many beautiful memories have been made. Even before the beach parties we threw here, I filmed my first music video, my second one actually, for 300 million. We filmed the last part at this beach. Been the home for many beautiful energies, and but it does get a little, you know, bittersweet coming back here, because like I just remember, like, honestly I don't even know if I've been back here since, but especially during COVID, like this was such a such an escape for us to be able to get together still. And yeah, I lived by here. I'd go out and go rollerblading, ride around, go on walks, and everything was so quiet because it was COVID. So, and I had this really nice feeling around that spring.
We're here, White Sands Beach. Looks just like we left it.
Looks great. They added some garbage cans over there so people can start cleaning up after themselves.
You know, the one thing I love about White Sands Beach is, I mean, this isn't compared to Hawaii, but like the view, you know, you're just on the Mississippi, you know that the Mississippi like feeds all the way down to Louisiana and stretches the entire country. It's just like, there's more to this world than just right here. It's like inspiring in a lot of ways. For me, I come up with my next steps here. Like, I try to tap into my visionary. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the best question to ask. Like, what is your vision for the next 10 years? What is the vision that you have for yourself and your people, your supporters, your fans, your friends, your family in the next 10 years?
Yeah. Well, to go off of your first point, I think that just sitting by something or being in the midst of nature's awe-inspiring greatness and size, how it's just so much bigger than us and anything we can begin to comprehend, and you know, it is older than us, right? In every way, it's taken so much time to get to this point of being this beautiful, right? The earth was just magma at one point. Is that some trash in the water?
It's ducks.
Yeah, but there's some trash right by it.
Yeah, of course. It's the Mississippi River.
That's true.
I got distracted by the mallard.
Just save the duckies, man. Save the duckies.
Had to.
Yeah.
Whole family dynamic there.
Yeah, man. Save the duckies, man. Please recycle your plastic. Don't throw it out. Don't litter. Please clean up after your beautiful planet. Are we rolling?
We've been rolling.
All right, so
sorry about that.
Yeah, I think just being in the midst of anything of God's greatness, the sheer size of everything, and how long it's taken for it to even be at this place, and it still continues to evolve. I think that probably why it's easy for you to, you know, create a vision amongst such things, because it takes you out of your own body for a little bit, you know. I really appreciate that about anything on earth, that reminds you that you're just a little speck, and there's so much more going on than we can possibly understand and realize. Even in our brains, you know, we only have access to so much while we're in this reality, in this consciousness, you know. So much is invisible to us to be able to keep us at bay and in this human experience for some reason. Because I think if we could really see how much was actually going on all the time, it's like when you go to the eye doctor and they shine that light in your eye that shows you you have like veins and blood vessels and everything that's in front of your eye that you see constantly, but our minds actually just make it invisible. And that's like, otherwise, like, it's like our brains have done it. Otherwise, like, we would not be able to see the same way, and we would have veins all over everything. But our brains have developed to be able to give us the foresight to look past that. Only when this doctor shines the light in a new way, we see it in our eyes. It's pretty crazy. But I think that that is like a lot of why this stuff is magical. You're standing next to something that you can't quite understand fully, but it makes sense to remind you that God's got a plan that's much bigger for you. And moving into the future, so much of my life I tried to predict, and manifestation for sure works, and I'll speak it into existence forever, but God's path that he will lay out in front of you is going to be different than what you expect for yourself. And you can fight it as much as you want, but that's just the way it is. So you better accept it and come to peace with it. I think I've been in the process of doing something similar to that. You know, it's hard for me to say that I want to settle down. I want kids right now, because the same thing I've been searching for, or searching to get, that goal I've had since I was 14, you know, still hasn't been accomplished, right? And even though I'm older now, even though time passes on, if I still haven't reached this moment that I want to create, which is, you know, touring regularly, which is, you know, all the Spotify listeners in the world, and, you know, platinum plaques, enough money to boil my family, make sure my future generations are taken care of, I will be not completely rested. Even in Hawaii, even amidst the ocean, all I think about is what I want for myself musically. You know, I understand that so many of us have to play the role of the starving artist, quote unquote. You know, I'm not starving, but I've made a good life for myself, but I feel I have so far left to go, and it does make it difficult for me to fully appreciate the progress I've made as an individual, because there's always so much that I feel I haven't achieved yet. And it sits with me day and night. And I think sometimes it even makes me, you know, it's been in points in life where I question myself. You know, I have a verse in Rain in the Valley, in the second verse, where I say, reflect on my karma and sins. Is this what I get for sometimes acting the dummy? And that, I feel like, was an important moment, because that's like saying, like, the conversations I truly have with God sometimes, like, man, like, I'm so grateful for everything I have. And in the beginning of all my prayers is always just straight gratitude for a long time. And I typically don't ask God for anything. But I do question, is it the decisions that I've made in my life that are coming back as karmic retribution that will make me unable to ever, no matter how hard I try, right? It's like, will you never get that tour that you want, or those multiple tours? Will that platinum plaque never come your way? Just simply because of karma. Like, what have I done? And I'll reflect on it. It's like, nah, man, like, I think truly at the bottom of it all, I have tried to do things for the right reason. And you know what? I trust that God is looking out for me. So whatever the path may be that I'm walking along, I trust it is the right path. So if I am here now, no sense in regretting my life up to this point, because that only leads people to crisis. And so instead, I've learned to appreciate everything that has led me to this moment, and everything that I have here currently right now. I may not have it all, but you can know that when you're looking at me, you're looking at somebody who's waking up every single day as if everybody left me behind in the race, and I've got ground to cover. I approach life and making music as if I've always got ground to cover. And so we're going to keep covering ground every day, right? No moments to just sit and do nothing but pushing myself creatively. I think I've got some songs that are really incredible right now, really going to touch people in a universal way. And then once we run these through, you know, the creative process starts again. And just like a true artist, you know, you start from scratch. You're creating something again from some inspiration you may find in a relationship, you may find on a walk. wherever it may be. You know, we're just going to keep going through and trucking along in this cycle. But I think that people getting to know the story, getting to understand, like, so much went into where I'm at now. Like, and I think that that's why this interview was important. This sit down was important because I started off as a young kid at 13, going to my first studio session that I got for Christmas, and it changed my life forever. And from that moment, I was able to deal with the emotions of bullying, a lot of bullying, loneliness, my mother being with an alcoholic for many years, losing so many people that were close to me, passing away at a young age, which is crazy because, you know, we're getting to the 10-year anniversary of Jacob passing away, which is astonishing that life can move so fast and so far.
Josiah, what do you want people to feel with your art? What's the experience that you're trying to share with them?
Flow state. I think that I've learned to trust my instincts so much, man, and it has helped me along the way. So much of the music that I write now goes off of like a freestyle that I record of mumbles very soon after I've heard the beat for the first time. I let it stay fresh on my mind, and whether in Pro Tools or with my phone, I'm gonna play the instrumental and I'm gonna do a mumble melodic freestyle of whatever first comes to my head. And I'll listen back to that, and that has been the foundation for so much of my music recently, which has been comforting, right? Because like a lot of the times for me, it is that first rush of ideas that comes in the process. So I think that you're hearing somebody who's not putting a filter on before I talk to you. And, you know, we get to go on a journey of self-discovery together. Like I want people to, I really want the best for people, man. That's honestly it. Like, and I think that being true to myself, is uncomfortable as it may be, because trust me, in my writing, it can get uncomfortable, and not in a bad way, but when you're being so vulnerable sometimes, so honest about your situations, and especially if they're fresh, it's weird to, you know, create something musically out of that and then share it with people. But I hope that through that process, people can understand and feel that I am being raw and authentic, and, you know, trying to influence people in a brighter way, right? I think so much negativity gets broadcasted and pushed, and I want to be that person that, like, when everybody's doing this thing, I want to walk toward the light a little bit more. And you can hear that in myself. That doesn't necessarily mean I just make bright, happy music, but you're talking to somebody who wants to figure things out the right way in life. And I think that's very important to the people, right? Because I'm not feeding you a lie. Like, I am a flawed human being, and every day I wake up and I want to do better. I want to have those honest moments with myself. And a lot of the times that process is through the music. So when you're hearing it, you know, you're hearing somebody who's figuring it out along the way. I think too, like, so much of my music talking about love and relationships and things that I felt like, those are also valuable things that I think so many people out there as well experience. Like, you know, being in situations where people have made me feel unimportant. Like, I love so hard that there's been a lot of times in life I've just loved so much more than I felt like the person was capable of either loving or at least showing me. And I've been able to make really great music about it, which in turn gave me more confidence in loving myself, because through it I was identifying that I do hold this love in my heart. And sometimes, you know, I do give it away so freely. And I think a lot of people do that same thing. And it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel emotional. It's okay to question everything. It's okay. And when you're listening to my music, you can clearly see there's somebody out there who's asking a lot of the same questions. Existentially, internally, like, this life shit is so crazy. We meet people every day. Some of them are here and gone the next day. Some stay forever in our minds. Sometimes you meet somebody randomly and they stay in your heart forever, and you may have only had a short interaction with them, right? To an artist, though, this is a lifetime of inspiration. Somebody who you've loved sincerely, somebody who's broken your heart sincerely. It's a lifetime of inspiration. It is weird because it's like, as an artist, right? Like, it's no easy way to just tell somebody, like, I made a song about you or in the experience or whatever. Like, they may be moved on in their own life, but for me, I may still be on it because it's providing me so much inspiration. It's a weird position to be in. So as an artist, you end up in all these awkward scenarios where you definitely feel different than everybody else, because I may be identifying with a feeling or an emotion or a situation, and from that I see the inspiration. So I might just stay in this bubble for a while. And people may move on with their own lives and do everything, but I may go back into the studio every night and I'm hyper focused back in on whatever that memory is, that feeling, that emotion, that situation. And from there I'm, creating beauty out of it. I hope that I can continue to incite peace, self-awareness. I hope that I can make people more understanding of spiritual freedom and the power that it holds, and that we are all capable of it. And hopefully to provide a way to connect all of us together. Like, through so much division in our world, there's things that I think that all of us can agree on. We need more love. We should treat people better. We should be honest. We should take care of each other. We should check up on each other. We should try to take care of people we love and our families, and do everything we can possibly do to be better every single day. I know some days are going to be more challenging. It's a cliche, give your best. Every day is your 100% is going to be different. Your 100% might only be 50% of the day before, but make sure you're doing it, because in the end you'll thank yourself later. And so for me, people might ask, what does the future hold for me? Well, I'm just going to keep giving 1,000% every day. And that means taking it further, getting deeper spiritually, lyrically, emotionally, more vulnerable, peeling back the layers each time. And hopefully together as a people, we can all heal, we can all celebrate, we can all feel hype, right? Feel that confidence within ourselves. And yeah, I just want to say to everybody out there who's also day by day in this journey of grinding, whether you're an artist, mechanic, whatever, I want the best for you. I want the best for this world. And I have personally made it my mission to be on a mission for love. That's where the inspiration for my song came from. Like, knowing that I have the power and ability to do better than society would have me do, which is to pull everybody down. Instead, through truth, honesty, emotions being conveyed, we can ascend together. And if I go and have a crazy experience on some acid, ego death, we're gonna go through it together. We're gonna experience it together, and all the lessons that it holds inside. We're gonna be brutally honest with ourselves. We're gonna do it, and that's okay. And I just love the process, man. Been a lot of times I've sat on this beach and I've not known what the hell to do with my life. What's next? I felt stressed. I felt like I was in a box, but I feel free. I feel calm. I feel comfortable. And I'd say this beach has never looked more beautiful. Shout out to Soda Gang. Shout out to everybody that's been on this journey with me from the beginning, man. Like, we've been in this for 10 strong years. I would say 18 working years, right? I'm 29 now. I've been doing this, writing songs consistently since 11 or before, but now 10 strong working years to get to this point. And I may not have all the money in the world, all the fans in the world, platinum plaques. Man, I wake up in the morning and I'm able to give 100% of myself to my dreams. And nothing makes me happier than that.